Shalom, and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is a recording of a Shabbat sermon with TBA Rabbinic Intern, Aviva Frank.
How are liberation and freedom different? There is a debate in the Talmud. I know there are many debates in the Talmud, but this particular debate is found in Pesachim 108a, and is on which two cups should we recline for during the Seder, the first two or the last two. Some say the first two, since for this is when we have our discussion about the Exodus from Egypt. This is when we began our freedom. Some say the last two, since this is when we experience our freedom. We were slaves, and now we are free people. The Gemara concludes, now that it was stated so, and it was stated so, meaning there are two conflicting opinions, it cannot be proven which two cups require reclining. Both these sets of cups and those require reclining. Both our liberation and freedom require reclining. The liberation is the activation, and the freedom is the ongoing state of being. But why this ongoing state of being? Is freedom the end goal, or is there something more? We know that God did not free us from slavery just to be free, but rather to become a holy nation. 3 months after our freedom from slavery, a time period to begin to heal physically, mentally, and spiritually from the intensities of slavery, we arrive at Mount Sinai to receive rules. I don't know about you, but freedom and rules, that seems contradictory. The Passover holiday starts with our liberation, but it does not end there. It is not enough just to be free. What do we do with our freedom? The Seder plate tells our journey from slavery to freedom, with each symbolic food as a marker and a guidepost. And the charoset has a double tail. One interpretation is it represents the straw material we use as slaves to make bricks. And in Gibraltar, there's even a recipe to put the dust of an actual brick inside. And the same brick is used again and again over many years in different families. Another interpretation is the recipe is to invoke the fragrant fruits of the garden featured in Shir HaShirim, fruit ripe with possibilities and ready to be harvested. Abundance. This is a good reminder of the layered agricultural roots of this holiday, and this might tie up some loose ends for us about the nature, pun intended, of the Megillah or scroll we read this morning. Shir HaShirim is an allegory of the divine love between God and the people of Israel. It also showcases a reliance on God for rain and, now dew, to produce fruits and wheat to harvest. This reliance hopefully moves us to seek relationship and partnership with the divine. In our rush to clean, buy, chop, and prep and cook, we may have overlooked that this holiday is also an ancient harvest celebration. Passover marks the beginning of the barley harvest in ancient Israel. We made it. We made it through the winter. It is now spring, and we have a harvest. During the Seders, we retold our trauma narrative from slavery to becoming a free people, and we also celebrated our harvest. We tilled the earth and then sowed the seeds and then harvested the barley. Wow, that sounds like a lot of work for a free person. We would think meaning free meant zero work. On the second night of Passover, we started the daily counting of the omer of barley. In ancient times, this was known as the wave sheaf offering, and the barley would be dedicated to God before being consumed. Barley is the early harvest, whereas wheat is the main harvest, marked 7 weeks later, or on the 50th day. Furthermore, on the first day of Passover, we retired the phrase, Mashiva Ruach Umarit Hagashim, from our Amidah, or whispering prayer, for the spring and summer seasons. We replaced this prayer for rain with the prayer for dew. We did so since having rain now would hurt and hinder the current and future harvest. On Monday, this past Monday, instead of cleaning my kitchen for the 5th time, I paused and planted with my neighbor tomato and basil plants. Having dirt in my nails was the perfect preparation for Passover. During the Seder in the Magid section, we read about Bikurim, or the first fruit offerings, which occur at Shavuot. A key aspect of the first fruits ritual is it needs to be the first fruits you planted and you harvested. The reliance on God to provide a successful harvest from start to finish, with the right amount of rain or dew depending on the season. And we see this in Devarim 26, verses 1 and 2. When you enter the land that the Eternal your God is giving you as a heritage, and you possess it and dwell there, you shall take some of every first fruit of the soil, which you harvest from the land, and the Eternal your God is giving you. Put it in a basket, and go to the place where the Eternal your God will choose to establish the divine name. The generation of Joshua could not harvest of others. It needed to be their own harvest, from sowing to cutting. The text continues in verse 13 with the following formula. Use this to recite. You shall declare before the Eternal your God, I have cleared out the consecrated portion from the house, and I've given it to you, and to the Levite, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow, just as you commanded me. The rabbis felt it important to include Bikurim in our Magid section of the Seder. So what relevance does it have for us today, or Passover, or freedom? Is it to see Hakarat Tov, the good in everything, and see this good as an extension of the vine? Is it to share our harvest or our abundance with others? Is that the purpose of freedom? And the purpose of harvest is take what we have and share with others? Be it inviting guests to share a meal with us, giving of our time, or giving financially? Is it to plant a garden in the future and share tomatoes and basil plants with your community? Tomorrow I'm volunteering with Repair the World until my tomatoes ripen. So during the Seder, we moved from liberation to freedom to obligation. Bikurim is an obligation. And with this obligation, the recognition to care for one another, to care for the other. This Passover holiday starts with our liberation, but it does not end there. It is not enough just to be free. What do we do with our freedom? From the Levite to the stranger, from the orphan to the widow, as the Bikurim declaration declares, our freedom does not stop with us. Reclining at the Seder, be it with the first 2 cups or the last 2 cups or all 4 cups, for we have a shared responsibility. We might have opened our Seder with also a declaration that says all who are hungry should come and eat. Yet how many of us actually had the door open as we said this? Ironic, right? We open it for Elijah, but not for this section? Possibly, this is a statement that is retrospective, ex post facto. We've already invited guests or given the community a chest to allow those in need to participate in the Seder. God cared for us in the desert with manna, and now we care for one another. But is it enough? Is there more we can still do as the Pesach holiday continues on? Pesach has many names, from Hag HaMatzot to Zman Charatenu, the time of our liberation. But the one that personally resonates with me is Chag HaAviv. I wonder why. Pesach is a harvest holiday at its core, starting now with the barley harvest and counting up with the Omer to the wheat harvest. We reach Yerushalayim and eat charoset to connect to the vine and to remember our reliance on God for rain and not dew. In 7 weeks' time in ancient times, we would bring our Bikurim to Jerusalem, and for now we recount it at our Seder. The Seder teaches us to never stop asking questions, even of ourselves, from liberation to freedom to obligation. The Passover holiday starts with our liberation, but does not end there. It is not enough just to be free. What do we do with our freedom?
You've been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast website or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information on Temple Beth Am, Los Angeles, please visit www.tbala.org.